Welcome to Weird Facts Animal Edition. Today, we're uncovering some truths about animals that are, well, they're truly stranger than fiction. And hey, before we dive in, if you're into this kind of stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And definitely let us know in the comments what we should explore next. All right, so let me ask you, how well do you really know the animal kingdom? You probably think you've got the basics down, but get ready because we're about to blow your mind. Let's kick things off with a bird whose anatomy just seems to defy all logic. Yeah, you heard that right. A woodpecker's tongue is so ridiculously long that it actually wraps all the way around its skull. And this isn't just for, convenient storage. It's also like a built-in shock absorber, protecting its brain from the insane G-forces of all that pecking. And believe me, that incredible adaptation is just the beginning. Let's jump into our first section. Bizarre bodies. You are not going to believe some of this stuff. Okay, let's take the polar bear. We all see this big, majestic white animal, right? Well, that's actually an illusion. Their fur isn't white at all. Each hair is see-through and hollow. This setup scatters light, which makes the bear look white for camouflage. And underneath all that, their skin is jet black to soak up as much of the sun's heat as possible. How cool is that? All right. Let's talk hearts. How many does a single octopus have? The answer isn't one. It's not even two. It's three. So how does that even work? Well, two of the hearts are totally dedicated to pumping blood through the gills. Then the third, bigger heart, handles circulation for the rest of the body. But here's the crazy part. That main heart actually stops beating when the octopus swims. That's why you so often see them crawling along the ocean floor. Swimming is just way too tiring for them. We've all heard a rooster's crow, right? But have you ever thought about just how loud it is? We're talking over 100 decibels. That's basically the same as having a running chainsaw right next to your ear. So, the big question is, how do they not deafen themselves? It's actually a super simple but brilliant solution. When the rooster tilts its head back to let out that crow, the movement completely covers its ear canals. It creates its own perfect built-in earplugs. Nature is amazing. Okay, so we've gone from bizarre bodies to, well, brilliant minds. Now let's explore some of the most incredible abilities in the animal kingdom. These are skills that go way beyond just simple instinct. When you think of animals using tools, your mind probably jumps to primates, right? Chimps, maybe? Well, get this. The New Caledonian crow is so good at making and using tools that some scientists argue their skills are even more advanced than a chimpanzee's. They're one of the only animals on Earth, besides us, known to use what are called meta-tools. It's a fancy term, but it just means they can use one tool to get another tool. So they can figure out, okay, I'll use this short stick to get that longer stick over there, and then use the long stick to get the food. That's some serious multi-step planning right there. And speaking of incredible tool use, you have got to hear about the coconut octopus. This little genius actively goes around collecting discarded coconut shells from the ocean floor. It cleans them out, carries them around while stilt walking on its other arms, and then, whenever it needs a safe place to hide, it just assembles them into a makeshift portable fortress, a mobile home. And, intelligence isn't just about using tools. African buffalo herds, for instance, basically practice a form of democracy. When it's time to decide where the herd's going to go next, the adult females vote. They stand up, they stare in the direction they want to go, and then they lie back down. Whichever direction gets the most stares, that's where the herd moves. Sorry, guys and kids, your votes don't count in this election. All right, so just like animal abilities can completely surprise us, so can their family trees. Let's get into our next section and untangle some really common mix-ups about who's related to whom. First up, frogs and toads. A lot of people think they're two completely different things, but scientifically speaking, all toads are actually a type of frog. Yeah, the word toad is really just a common name we use for frogs that tend to have that drier, bumpier skin and are better built for walking than for leaping. And you know what? It's the exact same deal with turtles and tortoises. Turtle is the big umbrella term for the entire order of reptiles with shells. A tortoise is just a specific family of turtle that happens to live its whole life on land. So remember, every tortoise is a turtle, but not every turtle is a tortoise. Okay, get ready for a real shocker. You see a shrew, right? It's tiny, it's furry, it's got a long nose, it looks just like a mouse. So it has to be a rodent, or at least a close cousin. Nope, not even close. Genetically, that tiny little shrew is more closely related to an elephant than it is to a mouse. It's just a mind-bending example of how looks can be seriously deceiving when it comes to the evolutionary tree. And finally, let's talk about the ultimate game, life itself. The lifespans of animals can be wildly different, and some of the winners of this lifespan lottery are probably not who you'd expect. So on one end of the scale, you've got something like a weasel, which is lucky to live for a year or two. A tiger might get to about 14. We humans do pretty well, hanging around for about 80 years. But the undisputed champion of all mammals, that's the bowhead whale, which can live for more than 200 years. And here's the thing, you can't always judge how long an animal will live just by its size. Take that massive tiger we mentioned, it lives for about 14 years. But the teeny tiny Brandt's bat? It can live for over 40 years. That's an absolutely extraordinary lifespan for a mammal that small. But the true winner, the ultimate champion of the lifespan lottery, isn't a mammal at all. It's a species of jellyfish, Pteropsops dohrnii. And this little creature has basically cracked the code to eternal life. No joke. When it gets old or stressed out, an adult can actually revert its cells all the way back to their earliest form and just grow up all over again. It hits the reset button on its own life cycle. It is, for all intents and purposes, biologically immortal. So from tongues that double as brain cushions, to animals that vote, to jellyfish that can live forever, the animal kingdom is just packed with these unbelievable secrets. It really makes you stop and wonder, right? What other incredible things are out there that we haven't even begun to understand yet? And that wraps up our dive into some weird animal facts. Hey, if you enjoyed this and you learned something new, do us a favor and give this video a like. It seems like a small thing, but it honestly really helps the channel grow. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.